Hi, Lavern. Nice to see more essays from you. Let's take a look at this set today. This is about traditional foods being replaced by fast food, so let's see what you wrote. In recent times, experts throughout the developed and developing world have been debating the influence of fast food on our community. They argue for the fact that fast foods are more and more populous than traditional foods. Let's clean this up because grammatically it has some problems. They argue that fast foods becoming more and more popular than traditional foods is harmful to people's health and the conservation of traditional culture. Personally, I strongly agree with these claims. This essay will argue this point of view using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to prove arguments. Okay, that's better. Let's see what you said. To understand why the trend that fast foods are less welcome than that traditional foods are less welcome than fast foods, I want to address some benefits of fast food. All right, I'm okay with the benefits of fast food, but we're going to talk about it a little further at the end of your essay. What I want to do, however, right now is really just kind of rewrite this, okay, so that it feels a little bit more like an appropriate topic sentence. So one way we could do that would be, despite the problems associated with it, fast food does in fact have some benefits. Okay, that would be a good way of doing this. So let's go on. Firstly, fast foods are convenient. As its name indicates, fast foods are faster prepared than traditional foods and convenient to bring with whom? What does it mean with them? Who with them? For example, one of the giant fast food sellers, SELLERS, McDonald's Corporation, has its business footprints all over the world. According to Capitalize here, according to a survey conducted by Oxford University, McDonald's success is not, I don't like this word majorly here. Success is not due to its favorable taste, but its fast preparation and delivery of foods. With the fast pace of modern life, this is a lot of the word fast in this paragraph. With the fast pace of modern life, most people do not have enough time to sit in front of tables and wait for a well-prepared warm lunch. However, fast foods are designed for the need for the quick pace of life. As noted by the study from Harvard University, the average time needed for fast foods from receiving the order to delivery of foods to customers is no more than 20 minutes, which indicates the irreplaceable advantage of fast foods when comparing with traditional foods. Okay, so we corrected some of the grammar, so we're fine there. I kept seeing the word fast, 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 and I pointed it out to you. You already have to use the expression fast food, all right? So elsewhere, find another way to say what you want to say without using the word fast. Because look at this. It's not due to its favorable taste, but its prompt preparation and delivery of foods. With the hectic pace of modern life, most people do not have enough time to sit in front of a lunch and sit at tables waiting. That's what I would have done there. All right, so just a couple of changes in terms of the language, in terms of the expression. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, as I said, at the end. So let's move on right now. However, although there are pieces of evidence supporting fast foods, all right, you need a comma here, not a full stop. So although there are pieces of evidence supporting fast foods, the negative impact of the, all right, you know what, I really want to correct some of this. This was supposed to be one sentence, and you really are missing an opportunity here to use some good cohesion. So, and I also want to change this pieces of evidence. So why don't we do this? Take a look. However, although there is evidence supporting fast foods, the negative impact of them cannot be ignored. Okay, this is largely because fast foods are unhealthy if we eat them for a long time. All right, again, careful with this cohesion. Uh, in contrast, not on the contrary is used in a very specific way and not here. In contrast, traditional foods are wise choices in the long term due to the fact that traditional foods usually need longer time to prepare and relative luxuriant ingredients are involved. Traditional foods are much more nutritional than fast foods. All right, again, look, traditional foods, traditional foods. So just say they are much more nutritional than fast foods. Nutrients are considerably important for health, especially for juveniles. According to a recent survey, lack of nutrients leads to lagging development of intelligence. Again, look at this, juveniles. So use a different word. Lack of nutrients leads to lagging development of children's intelligence, and well eating contributes to people's abilities to be focused. Additionally, eating well-prepared traditional foods can make family members be together around a table, which helps connect older people and younger people. All right, so here, older and younger people. However, the relatively complex process of preparation in traditional foods makes it lack flexibility, get rid of, to adapt to the quick rhythms of modern life. As fast foods gradually occupy the food market, fewer people would inherit the cooking techniques of traditional foods. As a part of traditional culture, these slowly extinct cooking techniques of traditional foods attribute to the extinction of traditional culture. Okay, look at this. Traditional culture, traditional culture. Again, cohesion is definitely a problem in this essay. You need to start using some pronouns in order to avoid using the same word over and over. Even here, cooking techniques, cooking techniques. So there are ways to do this. I want you to start working on using some pronouns or synonyms for this, okay? Because it's going to reduce your score in coherence and cohesion. Let's take a look at your conclusion, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that traditional foods are more beneficial in multiple aspects. It is predicted that either the government or the individuals will pay attention to reserve and favor traditional foods. All right. So, really, this is 492 words. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. I'm curious if this took you 40 minutes. Remember, that is the goal, to write your essay in 40 minutes. But apart from that, there are some other things that I want to talk to you about. This essay read to me as though you were talking about the benefits of traditional foods, the benefits of fast food. That's not what they asked you about. They asked you to discuss something different. They were saying to you that traditional food is being replaced by fast food. See what you said? Look, you even did it here. You highlighted them, but you missed what they're asking you. The given here, okay, the kind of assumption that they're making is that this change has happened. All right, it's happening, it has happened. So this is the first assumption. What you have to talk about is how negative this is on families, individuals, and society. That's what you're asked to write about. How negative is this change on families, individuals, and society? It's not that you didn't talk about these things, but your perspective was a little off. Okay, so that was one of the problems. Okay, so here, for example, you wanted to talk about the benefits of fast food, and you can do that, but what you want to say is how it tempers, okay, how it kind of reduces the negative effect, families, individuals, and society. So it's really just a matter of framing some of this differently. So it's not why they're less welcome than fast foods, and it's not you want to address some of the benefits of fast food, but instead you could have just said, despite, as I mentioned in the beginning, despite some of the disadvantages of fast food, it does provide certain benefits to individuals, families, and society. And then you can say that it helps families who are busy living active lives because it provides satisfying meals with low cost and low time preparation. It is very helpful for individuals who may be on the go, or maybe they're single, or maybe they work. Again, they don't have to prepare a huge traditional meal just for themselves, like whether at work or, what have you, or in their own private life. And as far as society is concerned, it's a huge industry, so fast food provides tons of jobs around the world. So that's one thing you could have said. Okay. So just giving you some ideas, but you do need to talk about all three of those elements. And if you're going to have a paragraph that talks about the positives of this shift, then you have to frame it like that. And then, of course, the same thing goes here. Now, this paragraph was really rather problematic for me because you started off talking about the positives of traditional food, and then all of a sudden, you started talking about like the negatives of it, which I didn't really understand, or this shift of, people preferring fast food. So it was really rather strange to me. I didn't know what this paragraph was about. It didn't have one central idea. So, um, So here, if you want to talk about the positive elements that this shift has created, we already talked about that. And then here, you want to talk about the negative um, effects of fast food on individuals, families, and society. So here, you were talking about the positives of traditional food, and that's not the point. We don't need to know about that. What we need to know about this paragraph is why this shift is negative on the three groups that we mentioned. Okay, so here, when you talk about eating well-prepared traditional foods can make family members be together around the table, um, you could say that this is now lost with uh, the prevalence of fast foods as people quickly eat their meal and then go off on their various responsibilities and obligations. Okay, and so this cultural element and this bonding element is lost. So, do you understand what I mean? You have to frame the whole thing differently. So, that's as far as some task achievement is concerned. But I also want to talk to you about something else. Now, here you said you strongly agree with this claim and you will argue this point of view, but you didn't. You didn't just argue this point of view. Instead, what you did is you talked also about the positives of fast food. So you need to show us that in your introduction. You need to tell us that despite the overall negatives this trend has, there are some benefits to fast food. Okay? Because whatever you develop in your body, you also have to address in your introduction. Okay? So that's what I wanted to talk about in this essay. We already talked about a lot of the grammar, a lot of the coherence and cohesion. So for me, the issues here are coherence and cohesion, task achievement, and primarily those two things, or those are the things that I really want you to work on. All right, so let's talk about this shoe sale bar chart. The chart above shows the data of two types of shoe sales in 9 main European countries. To make a comparison of sales among the 9 countries, the two types of shoes are categorized into brown leather and black. Careful here with your spelling. Black leather in each country. You don't need this sentence. Get rid of it. We don't care about the color. Okay? I don't see an overview. Without an overview, you cannot get a band 6 for task achievement. So, what should an overview be? Well, there are a handful of things you could have said in this one. Typically, we talk about the most obvious trend, the thing that's the clearest, or what have you. So for me, it could have been something like the greatest number of shoe soles were black leather in Hungary, and the lowest number was brown leather shoes in Belgium. Okay, so something like that. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. As shown in the chart, none of the countries dominates the market in both types of shoes, but some data is now worth addressing. And I don't really care for this. This isn't particularly IELTS like language. We don't talk about like that this is worth addressing. To be honest, I would have taken the whole sentence out and I would have just started here. Let's see. Firstly, the lowest sales of brown leather shoes was found or was reported in Belgium with less than 50,000 pairs, while its peak, we don't really talk about peaks, while the highest sales were reached by Poland with a value of 130,000 pairs, followed by Germany. Germany with what number? Okay, so give us that information. Secondly, as for the sales of black leather shoes, it reached, because this is past tense, okay? If I remember correctly, this is 2018. Yes. So, it reached the highest number in Hungary and the lowest in France. When we compare the lowest and highest sales between both types of shoe sales, we can note from the chart that the difference of black leather shoes between Hungary and France is small. Okay. So, Lavern, this needs some work, okay? For us to do that, the first thing I want to talk about is what's considered key features. And why are key features important? Key features are the really important things about the chart that the reader needs to know. If you miss key features, any of the key features, you cannot get above a band 4. Okay? So here you really did miss a lot of key features. So what are they? Well, obviously, it's your categories, okay? So obviously black and brown leather shoes, you have to mention both of them. But you also have to mention the countries. You told us that there are 9 countries, but we don't know them. You only mentioned by name, I think like 4. So we have the name, we have Belgium, we have Germany, we have Hungary, France, and Poland. Okay, so 6. So we have absolutely zero information about the other countries. We don't even know which countries they are. All right, and so this doesn't allow your reader to get a informative view of what you're looking at. Okay, so because I want you to assume that the person reading this does not have the chart in front of him. Okay, so that's another thing. I already told you that you're missing an overview and that your overview really needs to talk about the biggest trend. Some people put it right after the introduction. Some people put it at the end. I prefer it right after the introduction. Okay? I have a variety of reasons for that. I'm not going to get into them. So, starting from the beginning, the chart shows data of black and brown leather shoes sold in 9 European countries in 2018. That was another thing you never mentioned. We do want to know the time. Okay, it's there. We want it mentioned. So that's how I would have done your introduction. Then I would have gone with my overview and I would have said this thing. Overall, Hungary sold the highest number of shoes with just under 150 black leather shoes sold, and Belgium sold the fewest shoes in the color brown. Okay? And then we move on. And then we talk about all of these. Now, how would you do it? I absolutely agree with you that you split this into a black leather paragraph and a brown leather paragraph. So I absolutely agree with you there. So what I always recommend to students is that they use these numbers along the side to create a range, to create what I call like umbrellas. I'll tell you what I mean. So I would use this as a guide. So I would say that Hungary sold the most black leather shoes at around 140,000. This was followed by Italy at 125,000 and Belgium with just above 100. The least black leather shoes were sold in France at 35,000. The remaining countries, and then I would name them, UK, Germany, Ireland, Holland, and Poland, all sold between 50,000 and 100,000 shoes. So you have a range. You mention the countries by name so that you don't miss any of the categories, but then you just give a range for this. Okay. Then for the brown leather shoes, I would do something similar. I would say 4 countries sold between 100 and 150,000 shoes. I would I would name them. Okay, and I would also say Poland sold the most. Then I would say the least shoes of any color type were Belgium, with just over 5,000 brown leather shoes sold, and the remaining countries, France, UK, and Holland, all sold between, and be more specific here, I'd say between 75 and 100,000. And then you're done. That's it. So you've mentioned the key points. You've mentioned those outliers, those top numbers, those low numbers, and you just kind of smushed the middle ones in the middle because you don't really need all that information. You've given a range, and that's quite enough. So that's how you do this, okay? Each different task one has some different ways to go about them. All right, but that's how I'd like to see this one done. Go ahead, correct these, send us more essays, and let's see how you progress. Okay, good luck.